Hi everybody, today we're going to take a look at something really cool. This is a die-cast metal historical airplane with a plastic display stand. This is a Pan Am Boeing 314 flying boat, and it's the Yankee Clipper. In a previous video, we talked about how I got interested in the Pan Am Clippers because I started reading a book. Yeah, a book. Remember those things made of paper with these pages that you turn? And yeah, there's even pictures in this book. Anyways, back in the day, Pan Am made the world a much smaller place when they could take and shorten the travel time from San Francisco to Manila from 3 weeks down to 6 days. And traveling over such long sections of water with nowhere to land, flying boats were the answer. Now, as we mentioned in a previous video, regardless of whether the Pan Am Clipper was a Boeing 314, such as the Yankee Clipper, a Martin M130, such as the China Clipper, or even one of Pan Am's 3 Sikorsky S-42s, they were often just referred to as China Clippers, but they all had their names. So the Yankee Clipper itself is famous for the first scheduled airmail service between the US and Europe back in 1939. The Yankee Clipper was one of 6 Boeing 314s that was ordered by Pan Am. And like most, if not all, of the Pan Am Clippers, it was called into service by the U.S. Navy for World War II, even though it was still maintained and operated by Pan Am. So even though it's hauling troops or cargo or equipment for the U.S. military, it was still Pan Am pilots, Pan Am repair facilities, because after all, Pan Am already had bases set up across the Pacific Ocean. The whole island hopping idea was Pan Am's. The Boeing 314 was made between 1938 and 1941. 12 of them were built. 9 of them were used by Pan Am. And it's the Yankee Clipper that was the first airplane to carry a sitting president. Franklin Roosevelt flew on the Yankee Clipper in 1943. Depending on the configuration, whether it was hauling cargo or as a luxury transport for the rich and famous, it had a crew between 10 and 16 people and could carry up to 68 passengers. And if you go do a search on the Google machine and read about the Pan Am Clippers, in addition to making the world a much smaller place and shortening travel times, they allowed for frequent mail and parcel deliveries around the world. If you were in Singapore and you needed a part to get your factory going again, and it was made, let's say in Detroit, in just over a week, they could get you that part. When prior to this, it might take a month or longer to get what you need to get going again. So in addition to passenger service, you can think of this as the predecessors to FedEx overnight delivery. So for my online research, there are currently no existing Boeing 314s still around. The Yankee Clipper, which we're looking at here today, crashed in 1943 in Lisbon, unfortunately killing 24 of the 39 people on board. The Boeing 314 had almost a 3,700-mile range. The first Boeing 314 that was delivered to Pan Am was called the California Clipper. On January 27, 1939, it was flown from Seattle's Lake Washington down to Astoria, Oregon. And rumor has it, it was delivered to Pan Am in Oregon so they didn't have to pay the Washington state sales tax. And that's something that commonly happens today. People come down from Washington into Oregon to buy stuff because they don't want to pay a big high tax. Which, if nothing else, is another reason that Oregon needs to not have a sales tax. Every couple of years, they try to get a sales tax going. All right, so yeah, this is a very cool historic airplane, and it's a very cool historic collectible. And also, if you get a chance, go check out the book Stranded in the Sky by Philip Jett. This book is packed with some amazing stories about the Pan Am Clippers, and more specifically, what happened right after Pearl Harbor with the Pan Am Clippers in the air over the Pacific, and what they had to do to get to safety. Because one day you were traveling on a luxurious airplane to a far-off destination, in relative peace, and the next day you were smack dab in the middle of a war zone. And really, if reading that book is just too much effort for you to apply, do a quick Google machine search, and then you can do some reading about the Pan Am Clippers. All right, what do you think? History buff? Toy collector? Combination of both? And really, even if you're not a history buff or a toy collector, it's worth looking up some of these Clipper stories just to see the contrast of how things are today to how they used to be. All right, leave your comments in the comment section. As always, thanks for watching.
Beanmeister 22, the most dangerous man on YouTube.